Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm the admin Waylon, better known as the Sorcerer Online School. Today, with my fellow mage and brother JB Perry, also of Dark Sorcery, fellow occultist and madman extraordinaire. How you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, what do you think of this current occult age that we're in right now, with what's going on with all of it? What are your honest thoughts about it?
I think we let the world go absolutely crazy. We let things go on that shouldn't have gone on in Daddy's home. And the Christian church isn't cutting it. They're sitting back, just staring at each other like they're stupid. And the old gods have returned. Daddy's home.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. You know, I like that, man. There's not much I can honestly say that I haven't said before concerning. I like the fact that, you know, now everything's easy. It's more easily accessible than it was years ago, when we'd have to go to, you know, to each other in person, or, you know, find groups or covens in our area, or find bookstores or something that would even carry the kind of books we were into, you know, pre-internet days. I know you remember those days.
I remember those days, and I cringed because you would go to what was called the occult section. You know, the old days, books like Walden Books and Books A Million. Well, Books A Million is still around. The Walden Books, there'd be 10 occult books, and there'd be 95% the same book. Even if it's perceived to be, you know, I am the amendment to the Satanic Bible or whatever. It's plagiarism. If this was actually presented in English class, it'd be plagiarism. So you had the first jump of Satanism in the late 60s, 70s with LaVey and so on. Then Michael Aquino and Temple of Set. Then Windows 95, because Windows 95 let everyone have an internet browser. Then you had cheap little internet services let everyone put up their Grand Satanic website, which, like the books, was 95% the same thing from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And it took another 25 years from that, the current days, let's say 28, 25 years, to where we got a crop of young mages who really had the guts. And I love these young mages. I love them. Had the guts to say, okay, what comes after chapter 13? What's chapter 14, 15, 16, 17, 67, 97? They quit printing the same old stuff and said, it's time to move forward. I love these new mages.
Hell yeah. You know, my own personal library is full of stuff that, you know, even 10 years ago, man, everybody was still spitting out the same stuff.
Yes.
There was no room for growth. You know, it was just wash, rinse, repeat. It was copy, paste is what it felt like.
And I tried to meet things that called themselves satanic groups or dark magic groups and on, and it was a joke. It was like, okay, we're the rich kids who got $100 cards from San Francisco, or we're stoners. Yeah, take 2 or 3 joints, read 2 pages, and now you're a Satanist. Please.
You know, I never did get into the whole sending off to get my my card or anything like that, because I never cared about that. My thing was that when I first started, it was good just to know 1 or 2 other practitioners most of the time.
I never got my card. That was a joke.
Yeah, because I didn't care. My thing is this right here: either you're what you are or you're not. But no matter how many groups you belong to, and if you got a card or don't have a card, that don't mean anything.
Right. Well, so it's something I've talked about with other mages. What LaVey did in his day was a quantum leap. Yeah. But looking back at it 40 years, this is safe. And this is boringly safe, and certain parts of it you think the legal department at Avon Books wrote. So we don't get sued, and we don't, Johnny jumps off whatever, and we don't get sued. No, this is safe. If you think this is controversial, no.
Yeah.
Now, you pick up Necromantic Sorcery by Dante Abiel, and he talks about, I was a cleaner for the mafia, and I went to so-and-so places, and I cleaned these bodies, and I drugged them off. and I buried them, and 5 days later I dug them back up and made voodoo tools. Okay, now I'm interested. Give me some of this shit. But then again, he flaked out, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've only recently in the last 2 years even heard of co-editing or any of the things he's done, and part of that is because up until the last 2 years I wasn't in the social media scene.
Right.
I stuck with like chat rooms, stuff like that, and that was back early 2000s.
Right.
You know, anything that we did was secret. It was always small, and you know, everybody would do their own workings and stuff, and then post the results that they had, and so forth and so on. And we would grow like a community like that.
I remember those days. Just by chance, I started seeing slightly more serious than what I consider serious teachers on YouTube. You can actually look up the subject and find something serious. And it was Asnoth Mason, Espen Kane, Eric, Michael W. Ford, Michael Smith, I think is another guy out of Europe who does some work. I might have the name wrong. Someone Smith.
Mark Allen Smith.
Mark Allen Smith, yes. And you know, they have all these expensive books, and you're sort of hesitant. But then you say, okay, they've taken the time to put a lot of free information out there. So they've given you enough that you can take what they give you for free, run with it, see if they're legit. And if you still believe it, then you can start buying things. And I appreciate that. Yeah. That earns my respect. And very few things in this world try to earn respect these days. So that earned my respect, and I went and I spent $100 to get the PDF files from co-editing for everything but the butterfly book and one other. But it was the PDF files done years ago before he put the everything on Kindle now. And so I had these PDF files, and I could, you know, there were ways to get them illegally, but no. This guy put some work into it. So I was happy to buy them. And I read them, I found some things. And then I found Michael Ford and read some things. Other people found some things. And so I didn't mind buying things within reason and buying rituals within reason, because these people had gone first and helped other people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, it's like a lot of Espen Kane's books. I fucking love Espen Kane. I really do.
Mm-hmm. I know him. Yeah.
And but the only thing I'm missing is Thoniel, which I haven't got it yet, but I will. Recently got a 1 of 500 hardback editions of Book of Smokeless Fire.
I have one of those, yes.
And the Black Book of Azathoth, which the Black Book of Azathoth is more down my alley because it works with forces that are beyond the masks of like egregores and tulpas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like I guess what Mark Allen Smith would call primordial
right
beings. Outside of that, Michael W. Ford all the way. Matter of fact, one of the leading works that led me was the Luciferian Witchcraft book of his, and I did every rite in it all the way up until a Damu, and that's because we were moving and a lot of things had changed.
Right.
And stuff. But I became I started doing heavy workings with Armin, and I've told a story before about how that was like 3 years of just tumultuous destruction, where everything had to go to put me where I am now.
You don't do this to be safe.
No.
And my first metaphysical experience was when I was 6, and it was very extreme. I was literally soul travel pulled into hell, saw my real body, which is not human, and sent back. And then 2 years later, had another intense experience where I was leading a group of people. I was shot in the head, and my body, my flesh, my meat dropped to the ground. I felt the pain from it, but then I look at my hands. I'm looking forward, and I see the meat and the blood. But I'm back in that body I experienced at 6 and 7 years old. I'm 6 years old. And then, of course, I killed the son of a bitch who shot me in a rather extreme style. So I was being told, you are something different. You have the flesh of human, but you're something different.
I wonder
from there, I studied, and of course, it was, you try to study, but there's not much. Try to study, not much. In the last 6 years, I've actually been able to be serious.
I wonder how many people actually honestly have that feeling, that knowing that, those types of experiences, because I think somewhere around the last 17 to 18 years, I was made very much aware that this is something I walk about this plane on, but that what I am is something just beyond this. And that's, and a lot of people, they go, yeah, I'm a dragon, or I'm this, or I'm that, and stuff like that. And that's why I don't normally, talk about this sort of thing. Because, I'm not going to be lumped into that category. I'm way too rational and sound-minded. But, when you've done some of the works that I've done, when you learn everything, when you've allowed to change and burn and destroy and recreate, you're willing to sacrifice everything
Right.
for the occult, for the art, for your path. You're going to learn things about yourself. Whether I've met people who think that they're Nephilim. Nothing wrong with that, man. If that's what they believe, that's what they believe. But I always thought it was weird that on the astral, and it's what originally started it. On the astral, I took on this fucking monstrous form I've never seen in my life, and it felt like a glove. And when I came back to my body, I could still feel it like it was superimposed on me. Stuff like that. Even with workings of the Yatuk Denoy out of Luciferian witchcraft, one of a Zide Haka, you're assuming a god form of sorts for certain rites and rituals. You don't end up being like it shows on paper or stuff like that, like in pictures. All kinds of different things happen.
Mine, you see the last 10 minutes of the movie Artificial Intelligence, where the little robot boy is saved by these future robot beings that are like glass with fire and lightning running through them. This close. I saw a hematite mannequin form. If you've ever held hematite, it's like it's black, it's silver, it's black, it's silver, depending how you angle it. So a body made of that, a flat face, no facial features, and purple lightning running through the body. That's what I saw myself as.
Yeah. Dude, that's pretty trippy. That's kind of cool, too. Do you believe, though, that your form will evolve and change beyond that, though, in time?
It could.
Or do you think it's fixed?
I think once you realize that, to be cliche, this is the Matrix and it's all an illusion, that's simply the first onion that's peeled, layer of the onion that's peeled back. You're not this flesh. You are this. And there's another layer and another layer and another layer. And eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
I love using Matrix terminology with magic. It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Because I think it lays a good context.
If it fits,
yeah. We're programs.
Yeah.
I believe it's all simulation.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I personally believe that. I don't knock other people's beliefs because it's what allows them to interact with reality and how to shift and change it.
Right.
So that's the only reason why I never do that, because that's their own connection.
Right.
with myself and I, I have like this one form that I've been told about time and time again, is how it looks like something floating above the ground that just seems to be made out of this blackness that is just tendrils.
Right.
And I equated that to my years of working with the Temple of the Vampire and through my vampiric working. That makes sense. And then I have a form for this and a form for that, so forth and so on. And every time I go to certain planes, my form automatically shifts. I don't consciously create it. It just happens of its own accord. Is that what you're talking about with yours? Or do you have to press the body?
Well, I was 5 and 6 years old in 1975, 1976. Terminator 2 didn't come out until the 80s. So I don't think it was my mind copying something from a movie or anything like that. It was original thought.
Oh, no. I wasn't talking about copying of movies. I was talking about your form, the one you were talking about, like hematite.
Right. I think that's a comfortable form. So I just stay with it.
Yeah, well, it sounds very liquid, like it's, not necessarily liquid like water or, liquid silver or Quicksilver, but more like, well, Quicksilver actually kind of fits, but.
I'm feeling it now. I can move it, but any moment where I'm still, it's hard metal.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can swing a sword through me and it goes to like a pull of mercury. No, it goes ting and it comes off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool, man. But what I was saying is that with all these different forms, and there comes a point where we're constantly seeking what our true form is. If that makes any sense.
My true form is pure thought.
Yeah. See, that's what I would.
It has no form. It's pure thought.
See, you make the first person I've met that is on that same wavelength with me on that one. Is because when you're talking about the purity of a thing, its lightest, less dense form, it is always going to be just pureness, and pureness in our sense would be pure consciousness.
Right, pure information.
Yeah. And all we're doing is we're bringing it from that form down through the layers, and each layer of the onion, as you said, has a different stuff until we come to this one.
Right. You exist at the same time in all those layers.
Exactly.
Which actually brings about an important part of magic is, why can't you just think a spell? At certain point of work you can, but the simple reason why you can't is because your thought is not on this plane. Your thought's on a higher plane.
Yep.
So you have to do something to vibrate this plane, to stretch like a wormhole, the thought plane into this plane. And that has to be sign language, verbalization, chanting, writing, burning, whatever. You have to do something to this plane to pull that in.
I absolutely agree there because, for being a practitioner for 2 decades, which I know you've got me beat by that, and it's not about being beat by something or, who has more or less or any of that.
Right.
I know you've got a lot more experience than I do on it. But through my years of experience working with it, I've come to understand that there are different rules to magic. If you're on that plane and you're trying to create something, guess what you've got to do? You've got to abide by the laws that are set for it. But say on another plane, it has its own set of rules and laws and so forth and so on. That's something I never hear anybody ever talk about. They're like, oh, you've got to meditate, you got to see it, feel it, taste it, blah, blah, blah. Well, I've been on the etheric plane, which is the plane of manifestation. I like to rise to that plane when I'm going to actually try to bring something upon this one here. Okay?
Correct.
But like, let's say, for example, I'm trying to connect with a deity or an entity or something like that. Very first thing I'm doing is going straight to the astral, to the realm of shells of memory of, you know, shattered pieces. And I'm going to create like a filter around my aura to make sure that I'm not picking up fragmented pieces, but instead the parts and pieces that were actually viable that were behind, you know, so that I can learn things and so I can learn how to connect with other entities. And you know, I like my own astral temple when it comes to actually summoning spirits, because for some reason they come through clearer, quicker. So it's kind of like doing a ritual here on this plane, but at the same time, all your attention, your consciousness is inside your astral temple, where you're doing the exact same thing, making the same movements, so forth and so on. Well, the thing that happens is that the mind, it's easier for the mind to connect automatically to your spirit in question.
Right.
You know, similar effects like that. I mean, you know, what do you?
First of all, the simplest way I do spells in this plane is I do little hand signals. I've actually designated certain fingers as certain things. So just because you don't want to be seen doing a spell by saying la 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 la, and 5 people going, what?
Yeah.
You do things where, like, if I tap my second finger or tap my third finger, it actually means something.
Yeah.
So I can intelligently get around the rule. I think in terms of computer programs, you seem to be a spatial thinker. You're probably an artist. One of the things I had the most difficult with is visualization. There's a classic thing in the first plane, OAA, about imagining a pendulum going back and forth in some fashion. It's a pendulum without a string, and to imagine it going back and forth for 10 minutes. It's one of the first exercises of the first flame. And people get on YouTube and they say I'm the greatest mage whatsoever. No, that was hard. That crap was hard. It took months, and I actually created a pendulum and watched it. And then I would close my eyes and let it keep going and try to imagine that I could intercept it when I opened my eyes. And it took that, and it took literally counting 1, 2, 3, 4, while the pendulum was going back and forth. There are going to be points in your magic progression that are just hard. And that's where 99% of people get up and say, you know, I said the magic incantation and the gold coin didn't fall into my hands. This is bogus, and walk off. No, this is work. This is discipline. And you have to go through all of it. You have to overcome, be able to do 100 push-ups per se. But it's worth it.
Oh yeah. You know, if I didn't spend all those years meditating 3 times a day, and then it went down to twice a day, once when I got up, once before I crashed. I was doing this to set my consciousness with the rising of the sun and with the setting of the sun, so that my internal energies would be balanced with whatever time of day it was, day or night.
Right.
And I taught myself how to connect with the sun or the moon this way. I also learned how to train my psyche to do the exact same thing. You know, but do you know how many years I did that? 4. I did that for 4 years, every freaking
yes.
And but nowadays, when you're talking about, you know, practitioners and stuff, you know, they're, oh, well, I've been a practitioner for 6 years. Okay, how many years did you spend meditating? Oh, I don't meditate. Okie dokie. And maybe they don't have to because of whatever reason.
They're going to be 1 in 10,000 natural mages. We talked about this in another podcast, where someone can hate someone and then visualize what they want done to them so purely and so completely that it becomes the spell that the rest of us work years and years and years to try to get correct. Those people exist. And knowing they exist tells you that if you're taking too long, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I explain to people that I'm teaching, this is not hard. The hardest part of all magic is realizing, one, that it's not hard, that it's based on fundamentals. Get the fundamentals correct. But what if I say, okay, if there was some grand grimoire that you had to crawl into a volcano and deactivate an atomic bomb and fight a dragon and go into the next room, it'd be one page. Fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals.
Yeah, because detail is everything.
Yes.
You know, but with the point I was making though about those that don't do any meditation, you know, that don't do these things, they think that they don't need them. There are parts and pieces that really affect deeper parts of our psyche.
Right.
They're there. You know, like there's some people literally like you know, prompt visualization. But I bet you can sense and hear the shit out of them.
Yes. I went with the answer I went because I was trying to avoid saying that I would look at that person who said they never meditated and go, bullshit.
You know?
There's so many fluffy bunnies. Oh, God. Charlotte Pagan Pride. Fluffy Bunny Central. There was a wonderful local woman, has a magic shop. She and I just finally came to agree to disagree because political views, other views, but mostly I felt she was promoting fluffy bunnyism.
Yeah.
She was encouraging the fluffy bunnies. Okay, you have your crystal. Now you're a witch. No. Joe. I don't know how many Waylon Jennings jokes you get with the name Waylon. Did you get a few?
That's who my dad named me after.
Okay. Well, to quote the great philosopher Waylon Jennings, are you sure Hank done it this way?
Probably not, man. Probably.
Yeah. I knew Waylon personally.
Really?
He gave a lot of money to a charity that my aunt ran. And when he came to Johnson City, Tennessee, they would meet up and have dinner, and he'd give her the check for the charity. And yeah, I got to meet him. I got to hold Shooter as a baby. That was a fun day.
Oh yeah, man. That's pretty tight, dude. You make the first person to make that connection there on that one. My dad was a bit of a stoner and loved Waylon Jennings, and so his firstborn son, that's the first thing he did was name me after his favorite singer, which I've got no problem. I don't mind being called Waylon.
The other funny story about Waylon, I'll go ahead and tell you, since we're taking you, I'm like 13, family's taking a trip to Nashville, okay? So we're on this bus, and we're going out toward Nashville, and you pull up, the governor's mansion. Hi, this is the governor's mansion. Now, if you look across the street, is Minnie Pearl's mansion. You go down the road, and this is Kenny Rogers' house, and you get to this small ranch house, log cabinish ranch house. Truck hood up, a guy playing with the engine inside, butt crack showing. Hi, everyone. Yeah, that's Waylon. Honk. Everyone wave at Waylon. He gets out, pulls his pants up, waves at everyone, and we drive off. So Waylon was not an image. That is who he was. He was a good man. He left the world way too soon.
Oh yeah, but that's I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. A good story. But back to
Sure.
the magical conversation. What do you think the most important aspect of obtaining to your personal power and authority is? You know, we were talking about this before we started.
Right. The most important thing is knowing that you deserve it, knowing that you have it, and grabbing it by the balls and doing it. And everyone and their brother's going to tell you, don't do this, it's risky, it's dangerous, it's sinful. I don't see current management doing a good job of things. I'm going to be the new management.
Yeah, right. What about the deserve? I heard you throw that word out there that you deserve it. That's like a
Well, if I don't deserve to live in misery, then by default, the opposite, I deserve to live with a reasonable amount of happiness. If I don't deserve to live in happiness, please tell me why.
Yeah. So, like in essence, something that, us here at Dark Sorcery can tell the people that, if you can't convince yourself that you actually deserve more, better than what you are and what you have now,
Right.
How can we help them, our viewers with that?
The path I teach, because it's easiest to teach, it's easy and it's powerful, is I teach getting these simple little blue notebooks, simple, small, disposable notebooks, and literally making a diary, date, how your day went, how you feel your day deserved to go.
Yeah.
Rewrite your day literally. Your boss yells at you, write a story where you yelled at your boss. If you're working with an entity and something good happens, be thankful, write a simple thank you letter. Whatever emotion you're having, this is the way I teach it, this is a conduit.
Yeah.
This is like Google for metaphysics or email for metaphysics. You write, and as you hold it, you'll receive. You'll get the impressions. You'll get the feedback. You'll act on it and keep going. And then I like blood magic. I'm not afraid of blood. Simple diabetic prick. The things I've asked for, I will prick, stroke, signed in blood, and then this gets burned. So that's etched in space and irreversible forever.
Hell yeah. I think that that's perfect, because first off, you have to write the future that you want. You have to be able to see the future you want. You have to, that whole people perishing with, for lack of vision. You have to have a vision. You have to have some kind of desire or want. Then you have to feel as if you fucking deserve it. And then I love that concept, using a little notebook like that. Now that's powerful shit right there. I learned a long time ago. I use whenever I wish to create something in my life. A technique I used was the Bible, that the words of God are wrote in red. All things eternal are wrote in red. And so for something to be remembered, and it was a little mind fuck I did to myself, but it was a it was a trigger of the psyche, that when I wrote in a red pen, whatever I wrote, that's what it was. And signing it in blood, that just came without saying, because once again, you're talking to somebody else that employs their blood to seal it, to create them or to destroy them.
Right.
So I like that, man. That's pretty tight. So, if any of our audience members out there catch that, hit up JB, man. This brother here, he knows his shit about that, Hit him up, talk to him, ask him questions. Hell, he's a fucking human being like the rest of us. He might be a godly human being, but
I'm a geek's geek, okay? I'm Darth Dilbert. I'm the big. I am Darth Dilbert. I need to be in the black shirt with a red turn-up tie.
Oh yeah. But my point being is that you're reachable. Somebody can actually talk to you. You're not a complete and total fucking dick unless they're a dick to you first. So.
Well, one thing I appreciate that you and my other admins and even the bigger names are talkable. Yeah. You can reach them, be polite, know what you want to say, and accept that someone may say, I need to think about this, but I will get back to you. And I will get back to you, or I will apologize to you. One of the two.
Oh, yeah. We were supposed to have done this way back. But
yeah.
Timing and circumstances were neither of our friends.
I did the one thing where I was joking about that I had gotten likes on my videos and such, And I said, okay, imagine this milk carton. Have you seen this made?
That's funny you have that because about a week and a half ago, I was like, because they're putting all this stuff together and everything, and I was like, well, that's great and dandy. I said, but has anybody seen JB? Because I haven't seen or heard from him in so long. And about 2 weeks previous was the last time I saw him post anything. So I'm like, what's going on with JB?
I was posting consistently. I was just posting comments under other people's comments.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't uploading videos, but I was in the mix there, one-on-one with people.
Yeah. I love your Facebook videos. My favorite one though is with the minions. I'm glad you have a sense of humor. That was way the fuck up here.
Well, the funny one with that is the young mage in Germany. It's like 23. He sort of dropped off the face of the earth, but he was really good when he was on YouTube for a while. He got that, and he was going to a big rave. His friend was setting up like 3,000 people rave, and the friend who was the DJ looked at it and said, "Oh, I got to use this." And so, without my knowledge and without my permission, that gets copied to a Jumbotron screen in front of 3,000 people, high on X, and they go nuts. He calls me back and says, "If you ever come to Germany, you're hooked up, dude."
Hell yeah. Dude, I love that about you, man. I love the fact that, you can be an occultist, you can be a mage, and you can be this and you can be that. But all in all, man, I just love you, just JB.
Right. Thank you.
And I'm glad to be a part of Dark Sorcery. I'm glad to do this, with everybody. I'm the new kid on the block, so to speak.
We're just good Southern boys, the two of us. That's what it is.
Oh, fuck yeah. But, we're going to go ahead and keep this short and sweet for our audience because we're not trying to overstep our bounds, but we just wanted to have a just natural, magical conversation about whatever.
Right.
So, it was great seeing everybody. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Waylon. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Mostly thank you for your patience. And I'm glad we got this.
Oh, hell yeah, me too, man. This is fun. I can't wait till we get to do more of these, which
there'll be more.
Oh, we're growing. We're gonna start doing this more. I'm gonna be doing these little things with the different admins and stuff, and then we're gonna come together and do it once a month. With all of us, doing that round table thing like we did the other night.
And if we do a 5-on-1 thing on April 1st or whatever, watch my bottom corner. I might sneak the minion hat in and do this.
And like you didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I didn't put the minion hat on and do this.
I can't wait. Oh, but is there anything you want to say to our audience, brother?
You're not alone. You're not the beginner. We were all the beginner. One of the greatest things I learned in mathematics, you get these crazy big things that seem impossible to learn, but you learn one phrase studying mathematics: a cinch by the inch and hard by the yard. Learn this and master this 1 inch at a time, and the yards will come. So a cinch by the inch and hard by the yard. I'll leave it with that.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what to say to the audience outside of it was fucking real, and I enjoyed it, and I hope all of y'all did out there. Yeah. Till next time.